Well, you're a big music guy.
Yep.
You play music. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about how a tasting menu, which you have at your restaurant,
right.
You kind of think of it the same way one would think of a full-length LP.
Yes, with the tasting menu, for those that don't know, it's generally 6 to 10 dishes that are smaller in size so that you see a little more of what the restaurant is all about, as opposed to, you know, just ordering an entree and, you know, a chocolate dessert and hitting the road. So a lot of the similarities, I guess, that I see are that if you take 10 dishes or 10 songs, there's generally a couple standout hits that everybody's going to love, everyone can identify with. And then there's a couple others that are maybe just kind of filler. They're delicious, but you're not going to go home the next day and really remember them. And then there's some other ones that are there for like the true foodie or, you know, true music aficionado.
The deep cut.
The deep cut, exactly. And I think, you know, you know, we can go in a whole nother discussion about like money and value when it comes to food and also music and things like that. But when you are enjoying a meal and it costs you $100 for 10 courses, you tend to let that kind of blind you, you know, and right away think, this better be fucking good, and I better get, you know, and I used to be like that. I mean, I'm a big guy. I used to go to Sizzler and be like, how many shrimp are on that fucking plate? Because, you know what I mean? I'm not paying this much for 6 shrimp. I want 10. So,
comparing food to either music or to art reminds me of something that you've said quite often, and that's that a chef, especially nowadays, is just like another artist trying to communicate something with his or her food to the world. Maybe it's you just let the food do the talking, but when you think about it, what are you trying to communicate with the world with your...
It changes. I think what I was trying to say a few years ago isn't what I am into now, and 2 years from now it'll keep evolving. And I think that that's the idea that, you know, I'm not French, I'm not Japanese, I don't come from a certain background. I'm not beholden to cooking one certain style. I'm free to simply follow my vision.
Well, tell us a little bit about your new things. You've got Gramwich. When is that opening, and what is it? Okay,
Gramwich is opening probably sometime in late August, I'd say, with fingers crossed, everything with the city working out. We paid all the right people. I mean, the envelopes went out. But Gramwich, it's going to be open like 7 a.m. to midnight. It's going to be 7 days a week. It's coffee and pastries and juice in the morning, and then sandwiches, soft serves, homemade sodas on tap, and little snacks the rest of the day. It's 1,000 square feet. It's 20 seats, so it is super tiny.
Are you worried about managing 2 places at once?
No, not really at all. I mean, I have almost the opposite problem where I've overstaffed my current restaurant with really badass people, and I'm just trying to find things for them to do. You know what I mean? It's just like when you start out in a band and all of a sudden you got 20 guys playing, and it's like, this can't sustain itself. I need to do some side projects or something.
Well, let's talk the Lollapalooza gig.
Okay. Last year, the C3, which puts on Lollapalooza, they came to us and said, would you want to have, you know, some kind of presence, like a booth or something with Lala and cook for some of the bands? And we, of course, jumped at it. You know, we said we'd love to. So we ended up cooking for Jane's as well as Kings of Leon, and had a little Graham Elliot booth. So it all went really, really well. We had an amazing time. It was a ton of work. And then this year they came back and said, we want you to kind of oversee the whole food thing, you know, and you know, what can we do to make it better? And of course it's, well, let's keep it local, not like local sustainable farmer kind of thing, but let's, you know, showcase Chicago and the restaurants that have the same like-minded, independent, you know, spirit and aesthetic.
A taste of Chicago that doesn't suck.
That's what we told them. I mean, I think the Tribune asked for some quote, and we were just like, "Taste of Chicago fucking sucks." That was the quote. And then like our PR people were just like, "You might want to take that back," you know, because we're waiting for the city to okay our permits and stuff. So I bit my tongue, and it was just like, "Well, we think that what we're gonna do is gonna be fine," and you know, so that kind of stuff. So, but to give you an idea, I mean, our restaurant does 150 people tonight. We might do 200 tomorrow night. And Lollapalooza is 90,000 people for 3 days in a row. So you load up at, you know, 6 in the morning, get there, start setting things up. By 11, you're serving food. 9, you're done. You're cleaning it up. You're getting everything back to the restaurant, cleaning all the sheet pans, and you're done by 2 in the morning, and you're back at, you know, at 6. So it's really intense, and a lot of restaurants simply have a kitchen this big, you know, and we're used to having 5 people and we cook, and that's the deal. So being able to say, we need you to leave your restaurant, do this off-site deal, and wish, you know, cross your fingers and hope for the best that you sell some stuff. It's pretty hardcore, but we ended up getting 17 restaurants to sign on.
One of which is your old boss,
Charlie Trotter.
Now, what bands are you excited about?
I'm ashamed to say, but I'm very excited to see Lady Gaga. So, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, just exciting, you know. Chromeo, Social Distortion, The Temper Trap, Soundgarden, because I think Chris Cornell's really hot, but, you know, in a straight way. It's not weird. So, just throwing that out there, because I'm sure someone's gonna watch that, and you know. I have an odd following of bears online. I don't know why. I mean, I'm always just like,
I don't know
so
that
awkward,
term. Now I get it, but
I don't know. There's a site called Chubbarama, and so I'm not. I guess I've asked people that I worked with, and it's just like, am I a bear? And it's like, no, you can't even grow a fucking beard. You know, you're a cub. You know, or a chub or whatever it is. So, but for whatever reason, you know, it's awesome. But I dig it.
you know, you talked about how, you know, you're not Japanese, you're not Italian. You moved around a whole lot when you were a kid. Your dad was in the Navy.
Right.
That had to have influenced the way you look at food. The foods the foods that you lived in the Philippines.
Right.
So you're eating Filipino food before anybody here had probably even heard of it.
Yeah, I had a chance to eat dog when I was 12, you know, living in the Philippines, and monkey and things like that. I mean, there was a thing called JEST, Jungle Environment Survival Training, in the Philippines, and because my dad was in the Navy, that's what we got to do. And it was literally on the island, they cleared out a part of the jungle and put the Navy housing in there with the fence around it. So it's like you go to the fence and look, and it's like boars and monkeys and other things. So, but I mean, when you're 12 years old, it's the coolest thing on the planet. So I can't think what somebody living in the middle of Iowa their entire life growing up, you know, I just cannot, like, it's not better or worse. I just can't put myself in their shoes.
Okay, so Granwich, August.
Lala, August.
Also August. So August is going to be the craziest month of your life.
TV show starting the last week of July, and then a baby due the first weekend of October.
Wow.
So.
Well, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah. I'm going to run back now.
Have a good summer, rest of the fall.
Thank you.
And that goes to everybody out there, too. That's the end of our show. Graham Elliot Bowles.